Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Hope we're having a wonderful day out there, and hopefully, we've got some exciting plans throughout the day and this evening as we celebrate the holiday. Now, if you didn't catch yesterday's video, I did mention I am out of town currently, so the production quality of this video is going to be much lower than normal, probably. And if you are new to the channel, don't assume that what you see right now is exactly what every video in the future is going to look like. Again, we'll definitely bump up kind of the video quality, audio quality, just a little bit of everything here once I get back into town, into Charlotte. At the start of next week. But obviously, we do have Hurricane Beryl out there right now, which is a big enough of a deal that I figured I would take a laptop on vacation with me and kind of talk about it a little bit in the morning here and at least give you a quick update on kind of what we're expecting here with this storm system. With that said, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely consider doing so. We are trying to get to 10,000 subs here, as soon as possible. Also, like the video if you like it and comment. Let me know where you're watching from and kind of what your 4th of July plans are. I would definitely love to hear that from all of you. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we'll start by kind of drawing on the screen here. Obviously, right here is Hurricane Beryl. Not hard to find by any means, with this big area of convection kind of bursting up into the Caribbean. The good news, though, so far today is that Hurricane Beryl has begun to weaken a little, and this was anticipated. Um, Definitely something that we thought would happen here with this storm system, and sure enough, it is. But all things considered, still a powerful storm. Currently sitting at Category 3 status, Beryl is, and with that, Jamaica got absolutely lashed yesterday by some of those storms, wind and surge. In fact, here's the island of Jamaica. Beryl now slowly pulling its way off and away from the main island there, and now impacting portions of the Cayman Islands this morning. Before eventually this evening and overnight tonight, finally making its way towards the Yucatan Peninsula, where we will see our next landfall of this system. So again, as I mentioned, the storm is weakening some. The main reason for that is wind shear and a little bit of dry air. A much less impressive satellite image than yesterday, but all things considered, the core of the storm here is still holding itself together relatively well. And that's something that will be very important in the future track of Beryl. If it can maintain this core, even as it moves over the Yucatan Peninsula here overnight tonight, will again play a big role in what the future forecast of the storm is. So again, right now, at the time I'm recording this, still a major Category 3 hurricane, and we'll see if this is at the latest update for 8 a.m. Uh, Not quite sure, but either way, nonetheless, pressure sitting in the upper 960s, lower 970s, and winds at borderline Category 3 strength. Although kind of a bit of a weaker Category 3 storm, but all things considered, obviously still a very powerful hurricane. And then that obviously brings us to the next question, which is, well, where is it going? So the rest of today, Beryl's going to have all the time over water it needs by about 11 a.m. Again, still just working over portions of the Caribbean. And in fact, this storm is moving very quickly because by the time that we're getting into 11 p.m. tonight and getting into early Friday morning, our next landfall is likely here along the Yucatan Peninsula, where we have hurricane warnings up from Cancun all the way back down to the border of Belize. Again, very likely to see some hurricane conditions here, especially right wherever the core of this storm passes, with tropical storm conditions more likely on the edges. And again, landfall could still be a very strong Category 1 hurricane. I think that's a pretty fair assessment here from the National Hurricane Center. Now, after that, we're going to cross the Yucatan Peninsula overnight tonight and into tomorrow, again, maintaining tropical storm status, and then eventually, all eyes turn towards southern Texas and the northern Mexico coastline here along the Gulf, where Beryl is expected to get back into the Gulf of Mexico and potentially re-strengthen back into a Category 1 hurricane upon landfall somewhere between the Corpus Christi, Texas, and portions of the northern Mexico coastline here. Again, Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where that landfall is. Obviously, if it's further south here, a quicker landfall compared to if we get a curve a bit sooner. And we'll talk about those possibilities here right now, basically. Again, latest spaghetti models on Beryl. We've got a pretty tight cluster here now, but I'll show you in a second. That isn't the entire story, but nonetheless, a pretty solid clustering, basically right over Brownsville, Texas, maybe just a little south of there. So right now, most of these spaghetti models show a Mexico landfall. However, I will mention, don't let that entirely make you think that Texas is out of the woods for multiple reasons. One, if we do get a very far northern Mexican coastline landfall, all of that wind and surge is going to be blowing in towards Texas. So, for example, going to be hard to see kind of here, but if this is the center of the storm, again, all of this surge is going to get kind of pushed in towards southern Texas. And a lot of that strong onshore flow could cause some problems. In fact, we just saw that a couple weeks ago with Tropical Storm Alberto. So, again, could be a pretty similar story with this storm as well. Now, what I did want to mention though is notice this is our latest European ensemble members from overnight. We still have a big clustering that kind of curved this storm a little bit sooner and bring it in towards the southern Texas coastline. And those members are the ones that keep Beryl a little bit stronger. So these same members that kind of strengthen it a little bit quicker back over the Gulf and keep it more intact right now are the ones that show that quicker recurve and more or higher impacts to the Texas coastline. So don't let your guard down if you're in Texas. I know a lot of model trends maybe look like it's going to be more of a Mexico problem, but one, even if it is a Mexico landfall, you're under the gun, and two, um, obviously if it is a Texas landfall, which is still a very real possibility, then you're really going to be under the gun, and that also gives the storm a tad more time over water to strengthen. So we'll be watching that. I'll just show you one model run. Again, we're on a bit of a time crunch due to my limitations right now, but H Wharf from overnight again does a pretty good job. Shows a landfalling hurricane, probably Category 2, maybe Category 1. Overnight tonight along the Yucatan weakens the storm considerably back down to tropical storm strength before emerging back over the Gulf very early Saturday morning, or excuse me, Friday morning rather. No, Saturday morning. I lied. Sorry. Um, and again moves the storm back over the Gulf, and then it kind of struggles to re-strengthen it until final approach here. So it could be dealing with kind of a stagnant storm trying to rebuild its structure for a day or so. But I think by the time we get into Sunday morning, the storm likely to really begin a re-strengthening trend, and then likely again a landfall. Right now, it looks like right near the Rio Grande there, along the Texas-Mexico border, sometime early Monday morning here. But again, if we get this recurve quicker, that I still think is a very real possibility, like this, that could be a little bit of a delayed landfall, could be more like Monday afternoon, Monday night. But nonetheless, impacts are going to begin as early as potentially even overnight Sunday and into early Monday for our folks out that way. All right. Uh, Sorry. So one more thing I will show you here, or not one more thing. I'm going to show you a couple more things actually, but just kind of what is Beryl going to be fighting as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico here, and I'll go ahead and show you that on the latest GFS. So we'll just start this right as soon as the storm emerges back into the Gulf. This is our latest GFS model from overnight last night, and this is Saturday afternoon. Here's Beryl. This is showing how dry the air is and if we're having any kind of dust and stuff to worry about. And you'll notice our models have been picking up on some dry air kind of on the southern end of the storm, and that would make sense. We're going to get this flow kind of out of the mountains of Mexico and really kind of even from the southwestern deserts of the United States and those Mexican deserts. Some of that drier air could get funneled into the storm due to the track and just the wind profile here. So we will need to watch that. That is one potential inhibiting factor as the storm approaches. You'll notice some of that dry air trying to wrap itself in. Another potential inhibiting factor here could be some wind shear. And again, we've already been dealing with that right now. That's likely to continue throughout today, throughout tomorrow. And even once this gets into the Gulf, I think there will be some wind shear that we're battling. Maybe not as much as we're seeing right now, but if I just kind of take an overall sounding here, and look at the wind profile. We are getting some stronger winds here in the mid to upper levels within the range of probably about 15 knots or so there. So, not a ton of wind, not as much as we're dealing with right now, but also not completely favorable environment here for tropical cyclone development. But I will mention the ocean here is an absolute bathwater or bathtub right now, very hot temperatures. So, high likelihood that it will at least have that going for it. All right, latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center, tropical storm wind speed probabilities here. Obviously, Cancun's going to get absolutely smacked with tropical storm force winds, but also Now portions of, again, that center of the cone getting up near 50% chance or so of some tropical storm force winds. Um, and again, those odds are likely to just go up even more throughout the next couple of days. All right, one more map I will show you here. Again, just a wind gust forecast from our European model overnight. And again, this is one that brings it right over, extreme northern Texas. So you'll notice winds pick up into southern Texas here overnight Monday into early Tuesday. Although all things considered, nothing too crazy, mainly just tropical storm force conditions. But you will notice right into the core of the storm here, we get more hurricane force winds. So obviously, wherever the core of this storm goes is going to be a big deal. But either way, look at the strong onshore flow of tropical storm force winds. Again, that will be pushing water in towards Texas, and that itself could cause some surge problems on top of any freshwater flooding problems that we get from this. So again, we could see, half a foot of rain very easily. I think where the core of this storm goes, probably even more than that, in all honesty. But either way, we'll be watching that and watching the trends over the next couple of days as we continue to forecast this storm system. Alrighty, well, I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me on a bit of a shorter video, simplified, kind of short, sweet, and simple. And again, if you like the video, hit the like button, comment, let me know where you're watching from, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already. With that said, though, have a great rest of your 4th of July, and I'll see you all next time.